When Nick took part in a radio stunt, he had no idea what would happen next. His life changed, the way it has for countless young men. To explain it all is Nick's dad, our very own Chris Allen.
The last sort of 8 weeks, I've just been like putting along in neutral, you know, like in survival mode.
In 40 years of reporting, I've covered just about everything you can imagine, but never a story like this. And for me, it's personal. I'm here in Newcastle, which is home to my son, Nick, who is experiencing something that's affecting a growing number of young men worldwide. It's something they don't like to talk about, and it's something scientists say could be a threat to humanity. How weird is this?
Yeah, it feels very weird. Do I call you Dad or Chris Allen?
I guess you call me Dad.
Okay.
How are you going? It's been a rough few months.
Yeah, it's been a pretty turbulent few months. Live across Newcastle and the Hunter, it's Hit 106.9 with Nick, Jess and Ducko.
On breakfast radio, 31-year-old Nick is known by his nickname, Ducko, and it was a radio stunt which starts this story.
My co-host was trying to fall pregnant with her partner, and part of the equation was obviously 50% male, 50% female, and so he was getting tests, and she just said, would you guys, me and my other co-host, get tested just to a bit of a stunt and raise awareness? We've arrived here at Hunter IVF. Gilly's already in there.
I don't think either of us could ever foreseen what it did become for Ducko.
Jess Farchione and Nick Gill co-host Breakfast.
Yeah, basically it was just like, let's get the guys tested, bit of a laugh. And then even Ducko foreshadowed like, geez, if this goes badly, this could be pretty dark. And then it went quite badly. Hello, welcome.
The whole process, as much as could be shown, was recorded. But within a day, the specialist calls Nick with the shattering news.
When you do a sample like this in a guy, a milliliter sample, 15 million sperm is the normal. And he essentially called me and said that we found 20. And I kind of went, 20,000? You know, like, what are we talking here? And it was, no, 20, that's it. Which is like red line, dangerously low.
A second test confirms the result of the first, a crushing blow for Nick and his wife Morgan, who were planning to try for a baby next year. The whole thing playing out on air.
But we haven't even started and we're going to struggle like really hard. Sorry.
Behind the scenes, we did discuss with Ducko whether he wanted to do it on air, and he was very brave. He was just like, not only can I express it on air, this could be a stronger message for other people to be able to be accepting of talking about this sort of stuff.
We've got a health and all that sort of stuff. I'm not trying to sit there and say, woe is me. Like, I'm really not. Sorry, I didn't.
Don't you dare apologise.
But there's just a lot of things at play here. Like, there's a lot of deep things going on. I thought it's important to show guys that they're not alone, and having a few guys reach out to me who've been through it was a really big help. Hey, mate. How you doing?
Nick says being so public about his issue led to dozens of people contacting him. People like Nathan and his wife Rye, who struggled through IVF to have their own 2 sons because Nathan also had a dangerously low sperm count. Was it a shock to your system to get that news?
Huge shock, yeah. I don't know if I've fully processed it even today, but yeah, massive shock.
But Nathan and Nick are just one of many young men who are failing in fertility. Sperm counts have dropped by 52% in the last 5 decades, and the decline appears to be speeding up. Worse still, Nathan says it's not something men want to talk about.
My friends and family probably only know 25% of what went on and how I felt. I guess shutdown's probably putting it nicely.
And what was your reaction when you heard Ducko on radio?
I heard the pain in his voice pretty much straight away and could resonate with that. So I reached out just to let him know that he wasn't by himself.
It feels like your manhood is kind of broken in some ways. You feel like you as a person are not complete. You just feel like your body sort of betrayed you, I guess.
And I think this has opened conversations that would not normally have been spoken about.
Dr. Andrew Hedges is an IVF specialist. He says there's no doubt environmental factors are partly to blame for low sperm counts. Everything from pesticides to plastics. And predictions are more couples will have to rely on IVF. And why is it that I could have children but my son can't?
This is a genetic problem where there's a little piece of genetic information missing from a Y chromosome.
My dad doesn't have it. I don't have any brothers. They think it's just started with me.
Nick's issue was amplified when in the middle of his tests, his co-host Jess fell pregnant.
And I say this with love and respect to you, Jess. It adds just another level of complexity to this issue.
I know.
Because I'm happy for you guys, like so happy.
I know. You're so not alone. And I wish there was more we could do.
Have you got your head around the fact that you may not be able to have a baby?
Yeah, it's certainly crossed our mind, and it's certainly been in the back of my mind, I guess, all the time now. But what can you do? You can only play the cards you dealt, I guess.
Nick and wife Morgan have also been told if he does have a son, that boy, my grandson, will have exactly the same issue.
To bring a child into the world knowing that is a real head trip for me, because it feels almost cruel. You know, like it's a lot to sort of take in.
How did Morgan react to all that?
Well, she's a nurse, so she's a lot more stoic than me, and medically minded, which probably levelled me out a little bit, but it was tough.
In spite of the problems ahead, Nick and Morgan will start IVF later this year, and he remains positive.
At the end of the day, for all guys out there, if you are going through this, it only takes one to work, you know?
One swimmer to work.
One swimmer to work, it only takes one. So, you know, you got one, you got a chance.
And you know, we talk about female infertility all the time, so good on you, Nick, for sharing. It's important and will hopefully encourage others.